Hello everyone, this is Clossi. Welcome back to the Daily Game Review series. We are at number 48, and today we have Brandon 1Q versus Manabiya 7 1 Don. So we actually are in the Don and 1Q range. Now normally I would not go over Don games for game reviews because I am not quite strong enough to review them properly. However, the person who submitted this is a 1Q, so he's probably asking, what am I doing wrong that I am losing to Dons, and what can I do to improve in order to break this barrier and get into that Don level? All I can do here is give you advice to the best of my ability. However, you are slightly out of my teaching range. Normally, the teaching range is 6 ranks or more below your level. I am only around 4 Don, so my teaching range is actually up to 2Q, so you're slightly out of it. But I will do my best to give you a good game review, and hopefully you will find it helpful. Alright, so we are going to start this game. Black plays a very solid opening. White plays a common opening, and so far so good. This is actually interesting. You'll also see a lot of this, and this is more common in order to reduce Black's Shamari a little bit more. So it's interesting to see White play extra solid here, but also possible. Okay, so Black plays, ooh, a very, very fast-paced opening. Now, you have to be very careful here. If you're going to play this way, then you need to be able to know all the variations, probably by heart. Otherwise, you're going to get destroyed. Because in this case, I don't quite think this is going to be good for you. This is a complete overplay. Yeah. Okay, so you don't know all the variations or how to fight on the side. So why are you splitting yourself into so many different pieces? Why not just play a simple Joseki? Like, you could easily just play something here and then play this way. Or if White plays this way, you can start playing this way. Let's see, what was the Joseki here? I forget exactly. Let's see. No, it was this one I'm thinking of. Yeah, there we go. You can sacrifice the corner and maybe play some in-game. Just learn your Josekis. Which Joseki do you know would be good on this board? And then play one of those. You don't have to play super crazy, especially in the opening. Just play something simple and get to the middle game. However, if you play something like this and get yourself cut off everywhere, then you're just going to give your opponent control of the game. Now, little things like these, even at the very first part of the game, if you give your opponent control of the game, your opponent's going to be controlling the game for a while. Because in the Don levels, most players are fighting to get that control, and then they'll do their absolute most to keep that control. So what you want to do is try and find a way to get that control sooner and keep it. It's not just a matter of simply playing a good move anymore. You have to play a good move, but your opponent's also going to play a good move. So now you're going to have to think, okay, which good move will give me an advantageous position, or which one will be slightly better than my opponent's good move? Because in the difference between Dons and Qs is Qs will make these little mistakes that are nothing moves or zero value moves or negative value moves. Don players, if they play a Q player, they don't have to do anything crazy. They just play simple, solid, and the opponent will mess up. But once you hit the Don ranks, they know all their shapes now. They can read almost all the things more or less decently accurately, as long as you don't ask a pro. But in the amateur levels, they have all these shapes, all these Josekis now, all this experience. So how do you beat them? Well, you have to now figure out, I know all these good moves, I know all these good shapes, which ones are the best? And then it's all about playing slightly better moves than your opponent and just taking a little bit of a lead at a little bit at a time. But as soon as you go playing here, now your opponent can easily just start taking control. This is a very natural move. It's to split you, stop you from getting a base and splitting you. A very natural attack and defense strategy. This is nothing but a normal Joseki, and from here you just start splitting yourself again. So you get a third split. Now all White has to do is keep you cut somewhere, and this entire fight will go in White's favor. So here, White chooses to actually just take the points. So this is White's option. This is White's profit. So when you attack something, you need to aim for profit. In this case, White chose to go for territory. Now you're going here. Actually, it's more likely to go here, and then you can exchange this to connect. That's probably what White was wanting, but of course Black resisted here. That's perfectly fine. So now we'll see White's follow-up. White now goes here. In my personal opinion, I think White should have gone here at the start if you're going to do that. You could also just simply jump and keep White split. Perfectly reasonable as well. Just keep White split and attack White. Or keep Black split, sorry. Keep Black split and attack. And it should be good for White. Now black's going here. Okay, white stays solid. Keeps black disconnected. I think this shape seems a little bit more proper. Because I think black can actually still connect, right? This can actually still connect. Probably you can get some stuff here. It's Ma'aji, but I think black's okay. So I think this one should have been here. Just keep black disconnected. That's the idea. Now black's going out here. You're still not fine. So I would probably cut here because you're still not fine. You're still not alive, and you're trying to run with the knight's move. Don't run with the knight's moves. They're cuttable. If you're weak, don't run with the knight's move. So white chooses to actually split you now. White's probably thinking something similar to what I was thinking. And he pushes and cuts. See, similar idea. I have a similar thinking to this guy. There's a couple moves that I would play slightly differently, but the general overall concept is the same. Cut our opponent and keep him weak. And this should work out for white. Now he's... This is the move. This is a Joseki move. Okay, so he's going to slide. He slides. Okay, and then he comes out. And then you connect. Okay, now black's completely alive. White's not. White still owes one move. This is a bad peep. Oh, no. Oh, I see what he's aiming for. Okay, that's reasonable then. Okay, he was aiming for this. Black fixed, white connected. So white had to fix this. Okay, once white settles and black settles, we compare the result. White got thickness, black got 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, this is definitely good for white. Definitely good for white. Hands down. This thickness is far bigger than these points. So black, this result is all because you got yourself split into a gazillion pieces. Even though white played moves that I would have probably played differently, the general idea was he attacked your stones to gain profit, and his profit was thickness in this case. And the thickness is far more valuable than the points he made on the inside. Therefore, this result is very good for white in a Dawn level. I say very good because at a Dawn level, the little things matter a lot more than at the Q level. If it was a Q game, I'd say it's a little bit better for white, but we still don't know. But at the Dawn level, a little thing matters a lot more because it's going to be much, much more difficult to get those little things over your opponent because your opponent's also going to be playing good moves. So this, I think, is very good for white. So you're already at a disadvantage and you're only 42 moves in the game. So try and put an emphasis on those first 100 moves and try and get control in the flow much faster than your opponent, and make sure you're not giving your opponent chances to just attack you and gain control so easily. Don't split yourself into a gazillion pieces. That's going to hold you back a lot. All right, so now you start this ladder. Well, that's perfectly fine. Let's see the ladder, but except the ladder is good for white, so you have to have a plan. You can't just say, oh, there's weakness here, I'm going for it. You have to have a plan at this level. You have to think, what's the point of me going here? What am I going to gain? So you're saying, I'm going to attack this. This is weakness of whites. Of course it's weakness for whites. It's a potential ladder, and you can do a ladder breaker. You can force white to capture it. You can get some forcing moves around it. You're breaking into white's influence. Okay, these are all weaknesses that are there. So now you need to think, if I'm going to attack these weaknesses, I need to gain something. What is the purpose of you attacking this weakness? What are you going to gain? And now we're going to look at that. So here now you lost Sente, so you gained a little bit of destroying this influence, but you gained 0 points and destroyed some influence. Is that worth it right now? No, because you can easily destroy the influence and gain points over here, which is much more valuable. Or you could go over here and start reducing the points. In addition, you can still play this move, which is a very big move. You could also threaten this group over here and try and do it in Sente. So try and be more Sente, try and be more powerful in the fact that forcing your opponent to respond to you, and don't lose Sente so much. See the result of your variations before you play. You have to read your stuff out. In addition, I'm looking at the time. Both players have used about 9 minutes. So I think both players probably... No, sorry. Actually, what was this start at this time? Oh, it was 25 minutes. Wow. Oops. So you've used less than 5 minutes for like 40-something moves. So this means you were not reading stuff out as far as you should. I'll look at how much time you spent on this move. You spent 34 seconds. 34 seconds reading this out. You have Sente. The next move will decide probably the next 10 to 20 moves. So it's very, very important that when you have Sente, you have the ability to go wherever you want. You need to put thought into, where am I going to go? What result is going to happen from where I go? And this, you got to realize, this next move at this, when you have the freedom to go wherever you want, will probably dictate the next 10 to 20 moves, and probably dictate the flow of the next 50 moves. So it's worth spending more than 34 seconds on. It's worth spending a minute or two on. So I put more emphasis, put more reading into your moves before you just play. Don't play blindly. You can't get away with that anymore. Sure, you'll see Dons that are very good at blitzing, but that's because after playing so many games, they know how to attack and can control the flow very quickly, and they can do it at a glance. However, if you wanted deep reading, then you can find a way to take control of the flow, as well as take control and outread your opponent in a far more powerful manner. So your instincts will give you the right ideas of where to be, and your reading will back it up to get the best move possible for your level. So you need both. You need good instincts and good reading, and you have to combine them in order to play a really good move. This is not good enough. Now White has Sente again. So White chose to just fix and stay solid. White could have also probably played something like this. I think this is a little bit better. But anyway, little things, little things. White just fixes his weakness. So now you go and play Sente. Okay. White ignores you. Perfectly reasonable, and plays up here. Okay, so White plays a big move. You play a big move, White plays a big move. Now you attack. White just fixes relatively easily. White has a weird way of fixing. Normally you just go here, because you don't want to give black points on the bottom. So normally you would go there. But so White, I kind of have issues with some of White's moves, but I mean, he's still a Don. He still has some, they're still doing something, and generally in the right area. So now you're invading. Is it time to invade? Well, you're solid. Okay, you're solid. So now you need a big move. Okay. So you can invade here. This is a little bit easier to work with. You will probably lose some points here. That's fine. And then you can go here, or you can even go one step further and go here, and you can destroy these points. Perfectly fine. That's a valid decision. You could also think to attack this one stone since it's so close to your thickness. That'll be your profit from this move, is to attack this stone. So you could also consider that. So probably I would consider something up here, because I like attacking, which is more powerful and more Sente than just invading. So I would try to do something up here first and then do that, which is a little bit better and a little bit faster. So this, it's okay. I think it could be a little bit better if you attacked your opponent first and then got it later. This is not so okay, because now White kills it, right? And later, White can potentially cut it off as well. So let's see, where's a good way to cut it off? Can you get something here? If you're super solid here, can you get something here? Potentially. So let's say, potentially, if White is completely alive, there's some potential cuts here. There's also some potential threatening to cuts here. There's a shoulder hit here. So this stone is not perfectly fine. This stone is actually not alive yet. Therefore, you forced White to kill you, and you're not settled. So that means that can't be good. So what about playing something? Why not just live? If you're gonna, why not just reduce or something? That's good enough. I don't see why you need to live in here. Why are you forcing your opponent to make points? So White came in here. So White decided not to even do this right now. White came in here and started peeping your weaknesses. That's actually an interesting idea, because remember how I said you can attack White and gain control? So here, White's attacking you and gaining control of the flow. Or trying to. I would exchange here, and then you can connect. A little bit better, probably. Good cut. Okay, so you have good shape. White did destroy your points, though, so White, it was free for White. So now you have some Panuki, some real strength in the center, so you need to use it. Otherwise, White got this for free. This is too slow. So now, attack. You have a lot of strength. Use it to attack, invade, or something, right? And they can easily come out here because you're super strong. Now you have support. But if you just do something like this and white fixes, then what did you get? White destroyed your points, but what did you get in exchange? Nothing. So therefore, it's really good for white and really easy for white. White's still insisting on playing over here. I don't know why. Okay, so white still actually fixed the stone anyway, regardless. But there's still a reduction here. I think just fixing was better. So this, you actually got nothing, and yeah, you're alive. Okay. So white did all that for free. You didn't get anything to change. Now you will get down here. Okay, so maybe you do get this exchange. But I think white's was a little bit better. This Hane damaged this stone. Already, white's going to get something in compensation for this. White's going to get to attack this stone. That means this was free for white. This you got, but white's going to get this. So I think white's way ahead this game. Like, in consideration of all the exchanges, I'm not even counting, and I feel like white's way ahead. And we are 95 moves in. So remember how I said put emphasis on the first 100 moves? So let's count the board, just to double check that my feeling's correct. 10, that was like 15. So 25, 35, 40, 45. This is a rough count, so you could say 50. 10, potentially 20. White should have gotten this area. This is really not good to leave open. These were not worth it. 10, 20, 30, and this should be at least 40. We said 25, 35, 40, 50. But white has... Okay, white doesn't have Komi. White should have had this area. Now, white will get some stuff here. And there's potentially 10 to 20 points here. Okay, so white has 40, black has 50. And this result's probably going to get 10 for white. That would be 50. So if white had Komi, white would be ahead. Okay, good reduction. Good reduction. Okay, so actually you're not doing that bad. You're not doing that bad. So you can see even though I've said a lot of stuff that you've done wrong, your opponent's also making little things wrong that are not taking advantage of it as well as it should be. These little exchanges are very important, and getting a little bit, like for example, having a stone here instead of having stones over here is like 15 points difference. It's huge, but it's a little thing because you still connect it, so it's fine, or just defend and it's fine. But the difference is 5 to 10 points. So white defends here. See, this should have already been defended, and now black's going to destroy the center. Follow up with your idea. You want to destroy the center? Destroy the center. Destroy it. And now I think black's actually a little bit ahead. Since we counted, I think black's a little bit ahead. Now, but white should have been doing better than this. All right, so you still have a chance to beat your opponent. Still have a chance. But all these little things that I'm pointing out, if you could do them all perfectly, I think you would probably be stronger than one Don. Because as you can see, even one Dons, they play little slack moves every now and then. They're all good moves, but they're still slack a little bit. One Dons aren't perfect. I'm not perfect. So there's all little things that you could be doing as well. Anyway, fix your moves and then figure out how to take advantage of your opponents. Like, don't let your opponent take advantage of you. Stop that first, and then learn how to take advantage of your opponent. And then when you can do both, you'll be probably like 5 Don. So that's usually how it works. Alright, so you did destroy the center. White's playing Dame, so I'm not sure what white's doing. So white gets some points here, but this was bigger. Alright, so now you need some points to make up for this. So you destroy this area. That's fine, but now white's going to get to attack you. I think that's really small. Dame. That's small endgame. There's big endgame. There we go. Now we're getting some endgame. Alright, so black. Is black still ahead? I think black should still be ahead. But now we're going to do endgame. This was really big. B18 is really big endgame. Okay, yep. So did white catch up with that? That's really big. Yep. Oh, no. You have to connect that. You have to connect that. That's huge. That is not equal. That is not equal. Oh, you're trying to kill this? That's not going to happen. That is definitely not equal. Did you lose the lead you had? I think so. It looks like the end game costs, your end game costs you actually your lead. So what's the result? What is the result? Options, game info. White won by 10 points. All right. 10 points actually isn't bad. So that means you're 10 points from Don level. Okay, not bad at all. What you want to think about is two things. One, everything I said was stop giving your opponent ways to attack you and control the game. Try and put more emphasis on Sente and controlling the flow of the game. Put more emphasis on that. The second thing is fix your in-game. Your in-game is really bad. It's not Don level in-game. You need Don level in-game. For example, if I'm facing a Fordon and we're both fighting and I come out on top or equal to my opponent, let's just say I come out equal to or on top of my opponent. 2 out of 3 situations. One situation is I'm worse than my opponent. Another situation is I'm even with my opponent. And the third situation is I have a better result than my opponent. 2 out of those 3 situations, I'm confident I'll win. Because once we hit the end game, my end game level I am very confident in compared to other Fordons. Now, there are exceptions. There are some Fordons who have end game just as good as I do. But most amateur Fordons don't put emphasis on the end game or don't study end game as much as they should. And I will win 2 out of 3 situations with them because I have the end game, the clincher. The end game is a skill you should have to finish a game. The end game should not be a weakness of yours. Because if you perform excellent and you are catch up to somebody who's even stronger than you, you're playing someone stronger than you, you need that clincher. Or you're playing someone of equal strength with you. Whoever has that clincher wins. That clincher will decide the games. So 2 out of 3 situations can be decided by that clincher. So get that end game. Get that finisher. Make sure you have that end game skill. Because it's very important to be able to finish the game. Now, I think the middle game is the most important part of the game. Because if you're losing and you lose the middle game, then the end game doesn't matter because it never happened. However, if you face someone who's of equal level, who studied just as hard as you did, or you're facing someone just slightly better than you, that end game skill could potentially turn the game around or put the game in your favor and let you win. So the end game is how you finish. It's still an important aspect of the game and should not be underestimated. So make sure you study the end game, get that end game down. So I think take from this game, get the end game down, because I think you potentially could have won this game because your opponent wasn't that much better than you. And don't give your opponent control of the flow so easily. Don't let your opponent control the flow so easily. All right, well, hopefully you found that helpful. Hopefully other people found that helpful. Thanks for watching, guys. And remember, for a chance to get your game reviewed, please see the link in the description below. And if you like my videos, please consider donating and supporting me as a Go instructor, again, at the link below at patreon.com/Clossi. You can also donate to receive monthly lessons at a discount. Since you are supporting me as a Go instructor, I will give you a discount for lessons. So please consider that. It really helps me out. And thanks for submitting the game, guys. Thanks for watching, guys. And I will see you guys at the next video.